Hey everybody! I wanted to make a video with Emmie because September is actually Craniosynostosis Awareness Month. And hi, do you see yourself? We're being aware of craniosynostosis because Emerson was actually diagnosed with it not too long ago. And what craniosynostosis is just the premature fusion of their skull. So the reason why I want to do a video is just, first of all, so everybody can see how normal she is. She loves to smile. She's just very happy. She'll probably blow lots of bubbles during this video. That's her latest thing. So we have a bib on to kind of control that. And yeah, right now it's just cosmetic. It's just kind of, her head is just growing in a little different of a shape right now. But I had actually never heard of the condition until she was diagnosed. So this video is also for awareness. And also I wanted to do a video because it's a lot to type. It's a lot of information and I'd rather just go ahead and say it all with words rather than typing it. And lastly, I wanted to do a video because I had watched various videos from other people that parents who had gone through this before, and they made videos, and that just helped me so much to watch somebody else and their story and what they went through. And and I want to provide to others what was provided to me, so I'm planning on doing some videos throughout our journey, and we will later post that on YouTube or something for everybody to see, and hopefully it can help other parents like I was helped. So Emmie, her specific type, there's 4 types of craniosynostosis, and she has the most common type. It's the sagittal kind, which is called scaphocephaly, and it's actually the most common type. Craniosynostosis happens in every 1 in 2,000 babies, and her type, or just in general, it only happens in 1 in 5 are girls. So it's pretty rare, and even more rare because she's a girl. So, like I said, it's the premature fusion of her skull. So what that means is babies' skulls are pliable. They have gaps in between and the plates, gaps in between the plates, and those are called sutures. So when the sutures close up, it doesn't allow the brain to grow in that nice and round shape that you want. And so with babies, it's very common that you know about soft spots. Well, her soft spots have closed up, and that's because the skull has closed together. Excuse you. And so if you can see from the side, can you turn your head? Maybe? Oh! Let's turn our head so they can see. Okay, so see how her forehead is protruding out? That's because her skull is all closed up. And so her brain is growing rapidly as it does the first few years of life. And so when your skull doesn't have those soft spots to allow your head to grow, your brain or your skull grows in whatever way that it possibly can. And right now, it's just cosmetic. It's not affecting any of her mental development, but down the road, there could be problems associated with it. Number 1 is physical deformity. It won't look right. So they do consider the surgery partly cosmetic, plastic surgery. But also as they grow, it could cause increased pressure on their brain. And later that could lead to seizures or intense migraines and just other problems that we don't want her to have to deal with down the road. So right now she's completely normal. Okay, so there's 4 different types of craniosynostosis, like I said, and I said hers was the most common type, and that is the one that grows back to front. And some of the other types are more severe. They may grow, it grows more in a proportionate shape that way, but some babies, theirs just grows maybe on one side. It protrudes out and not the other. So she always has had a big head since she was born. they give you percentiles every time you see the doctor. And when she was born, her head was in the 70-something percentile. And remember that 50 is average. You're not aiming for 100. 50 is average. Anything below is below average, and anything above is above average. And now, within reason, that's not bad. Because just because you have a baby that their weight's in the 90th percentile doesn't mean that's bad. That just means you have a chunky baby. But 50 is average. And so when her head was in the 70th, it wasn't any reason for concern because they didn't see anything, and her forehead wasn't sticking out at that point. But at her 2-month appointment, it was measuring in the 99th percentile. And so I started getting concerned about that, and then I started noticing shortly after her 2-month appointment that her forehead was really sticking out. And so I asked the pediatrician about it, and he wanted us to get checked out by a neurosurgeon just to be safe. So we saw the neurosurgeon and found out that she's going to have surgery on this. That's the way that you fix a condition. And it's a pretty invasive surgery. They like to wait until the babies are 6 to 9 months because they will need a blood transfusion, but it's just safer when they're a little bit older. And hers is going to be done at 6 months. And that's because... That's you. That's because her condition is a little bit more advanced than what they typically like to see for babies her age. And so it's going to be done at 6 months, which is November 13th of this year. And it'll be done at Le Bonheur. We aim to be in the hospital less than a week, hopefully less than 5 days. And our doctor, so we have 2 doctors that do the procedure, and one's the neurosurgeon and one's the plastic surgeon. So the neurosurgeon is the one who begins the procedure. He takes the head apart. And so we have Dr. Boop for that, and he's amazing. If you know anything about neurosurgery, I'm sure you know his name. He's wonderful, and he works at Le Bonheur, St. Jude, Sims Murphy, and probably some other places. You know, they kind of float around, but he's great. And then our plastic surgeon is the one who reshapes the skull and puts it back together. And his name is Dr. Wallace, and he's also great. He works for UT, Le Bonheur, and since he's a plastic surgeon, I'm sure he works other places as well. And we really feel like we benefit from being in the same town as St. Jude because a lot of those doctors work other places. And even though she's not at St. Jude, she's at Le Bonheur. That's great for us because doctors come from all over the world to work at St. Jude, and so they're already in Memphis, and so we really benefit from that. And something I've learned since the beginning of this process was that Memphis is actually in the top 10 cities for neurosurgery, which I had no idea. So, of course, when we found out about her condition, a big concern of ours was, are we in the right place? Because we would travel anywhere to be in the best place. And we were assured Memphis is perfect. It's a great place to be for this. So that was very comforting for us. And the process of the surgery, I kind of mentioned it, but it's pretty invasive. They do remove the skull. So they will do a scar from ear to ear, and it will be a zigzag scar. And because of that zigzag scar, her hair will grow back over it, and you won't be able to see it. So that's kind of an advantage, especially being a girl. Her hair will probably always be long, so until her hair comes in, we'll see the scar, but it will be covered up once that hair comes in. And so they, after they make the incision, they remove the skull. And for her, since her case is a little bit more advanced, they're going to have to go, let's turn your head. She wants to look at the camera. They're going to have to go farther down her forehead than they normally do, just because her forehead is protruding out so much. So it's a little bit more intensive than what they normally do, but they assured me that they've done it before, and they're confident that they know what they're doing. So, yeah, and then that's what the neurosurgeon does. He makes the incision, he removes the skull, and then he passes it on to the plastic surgeon who reshapes the skull by hand. It's really cute. They make these little onesies that we're probably going to get, and they say handcrafted. And so the plastic surgeon reshapes it, and then he puts it back on. And we will notice an immediate difference after surgery. It's an immediate fix. She won't have to wear a helmet. This procedure, it's called open cranial vault remodeling. And yeah, so we just have a few prayer requests. First of all, for Emmie. Most importantly, that safety during her surgery. We just want her to be safe, of course, and that she can be as pain-free as possible. They did tell us that she's going to be very fussy. She probably will feel some pain. They try to monitor it the best that they can, but every person is different, so she's probably going to be really fussy, really sleepy, and we ask for prayers for a quick recovery for her. We've been told multiple times that babies are a lot more durable than adults and that they bounce back so quickly, so that's great news. And then also with the surgery, it's not uncommon for their eyes to swell. It's actually expected. And that swelling, it's really scary looking. It pretty much looks like they were stung by bumblebees on both eyes and had a severe allergic reaction, because that happens because of the swelling from the head. But with that, a lot of times the babies can't see. And I know she's already going to be scared and in a little pain, so without her being able to see, that, you know, could be a lot of fear for her. And then, of course, that's going to make us really sad as well. And then I ask for prayers for Gabe and I, that we have peace that passes all understanding, that we have strength to be able to pass her off to the nurses when it's time to take her back. That is going to be really, really, really hard for us to hand her over. And pray for strength for us. Pray for patience during the procedure. It should take about 2 to 3 hours, so just that we're patient during that time, and for endurance for the sleepless days and nights that are to come for us. And a verse that I've been really clinging to since this process has began has been John 11:4. This illness is for the glory of God, so that the Son of Man might be glorified through it. And that's been so comforting to me, because I do know that her illness is because it's going to bring glory to God. And so I really hope that you guys follow our story and that it can be an inspiration to you. And I know she's not going through this for no reason at all. God doesn't do things just because. There is a purpose for this. And hopefully y'all can see how strong she is, how normal she is. She's just a normal little 4-month baby. And yeah, you're about done with this video, aren't you? So thank you all so much, and we really do believe in the power of prayer, and thank you. We really appreciate it. And yeah, so I will post more updates as we go along, but November 13th is our surgery. So thank you all so much.